Hi, Shaun. Thank you for joining the conversation today. How are you?
I'm great, Kathy. And you?
I'm doing great, thank you. Today, I'd like to talk about the two terms that come up early when beginning to discuss evaluating a medical practice, EBITDA versus SDE.
Yes, they're both a measure of earnings, but they tell very different stories depending upon who's looking to buy the practice.
Right. Would you mind going into a little bit more detail about the difference between EBITDA and SDE?
Sure, absolutely. So think of it this way, Kathy. SDE, or seller discretionary earnings, represents the total cash flow available to an owner operator. It adds back owner's salary, benefits, and personal discretionary expenses. EBITDA, on the other hand, is more of an institutional measure. It removes owner compensation entirely and reflects the operating profit of the business itself. So SDE is from the lens of a physician stepping in as a new owner. EBITDA is the lens of a strategic or financial buyer evaluating the business for an investment.
Okay. And how are these values determined?
So we start with the tax returns and profit and loss statements. Then we normalize them. That means adding back non-reoccurring or personal expenses, things like travel, auto leases, family payroll, and adjusting for market rate salaries. Once those adjustments are made, then we get a clean, comparable number for valuation.
Okay. And how do these values relate to the valuation of a practice?
So here's where it all ties together. The normalized seller discretionary earnings, or EBITDA, becomes the base for applying a market multiple. So with seller discretionary earnings, the multiples tend to be lower. On average, they're between 1.5 to 2 times the seller discretionary earnings. And that's because it reflects a single owner's compensation package. EBITDA multiples tend to be higher, often 3 to 4 times the EBITDA value, since they represent the enterprise value of the business. So, for example, if a practice generates 400,000 in seller discretionary earnings, that might translate into a value of about 600,000 or 1.5 times. Whereas if the EBITDA number is 250,000, that same practice might trade closer to 875,000 or 3.5 times. Same business, different lens based upon the different buyer.
Okay. And then from your experience, how often do these values need to be recalculated or what factors cause them to vary over time?
Yeah, so we recommend updating the valuation once a year. And so
Mhm.
when a client hires us to do a valuation, they'll pay for the initial valuation, and we offer updating that at no additional cost year one and year two. And that's something that's very important to do because there are things that change. Material changes happen within a practice, such as adding or losing a provider, changes in your payer mix, losing a key contract. Those can all significantly shift value. So, in healthcare, things move fast. And so keeping your valuation current helps you make smarter, better time decisions.
Absolutely. And then are there any components that are specific to the healthcare industry that affect these values or the valuation of a practice?
Yeah, absolutely. And most general business brokers don't understand any of this. But the first one is payer mix. Need to look at that. Second is looking at reimbursement trends, referral stability, patient retention, whether the revenue is insurance based or membership based. Those all play a significant role. The stronger the patient relationships and the reoccurring revenue model, the higher the multiples tend to be. So whether you're focused in on seller discretionary earnings or EBITDA, the key is to understand who is likely the buyer and how will they view the business. At Strategic Medical Brokers, we help physician owners translate financial performance into transferable value and position their practice for the best possible price. I'm Shaun Rudgear. Thanks for watching.
Thank you, Sean. Take care.
Thank you, Kathy.